Please click on the thumbs up button and the subscribe button if you enjoyed my vlog. Bye for now.
Hi everybody, we're at the Anglers water park near Wakefield, and you can just see the lake in the distance there. Well, by looking at these trees, it gives you a rough indication of what time of year it is. It's September, but the leaves are starting a different colour, and as it happens, because the sun's lower, it's catching some of the undersides of the leaves, and it makes it different. Every season's different, and this helps people to see that when they're looking at the pictures what time of year it is. Obviously if there's no leaves at all, you know it's winter, but just look at that wonderful cloud formation. It's an absolutely beautiful day, and of course we're very, very lucky. My son's with me, he's not working today, he's got time out, and it's a wonderful day, and there's nobody about. The schools, the children, schools are working, the children's work at school, and there's hardly a sound. Well, I'll just let you listen. You can see that the water levels are still low, but they are creating habitat for the low levels, are creating habitat for other birds. Now, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but right at the other end, I'll just try and get a better view. There's a few lapwings down there, and lapwings of course are wading birds, and they stood more or less at the water's edge. So I've managed to get a little bit nearer to the lapwings. There didn't used to be very many lapwings about when I first started birding up here, and now there's quite a lot of them. Now, just around that area, oh, excuse me, I've got zoom on. Just around that area is where most birds congregate, and there's a hide. And it's hard to imagine that this was a farming land at one point, with coal underneath it, and then all the coal had been extracted by machinery, and the bit there where we are at the moment is probably where it was at its deepest point. Now, I did watch all this being dug out, and there's lots of boulders in there, huge boulders, and also there was soil put around the edge from the centre of this lake, and I wondered if there was any plants, any seed plants growing that had been dormant in under the soil for years. And I did try and do some surveys when it was taking place, but unfortunately, as in the case with rabbitings, soil was imported as well, so it would have been a distorted thing for me to say, oh look, these plants have grown for the first time for maybe what, 100 years, 150 years, something like that, maybe even longer. But the lake itself has become a beautiful lake, and if there's anybody out there from America watching this, they would say, oh well, that's just a pond. But to someone like me, to see this land, this area turn from just land into a lake like this has been a wonderful thing in my life. I've seen it through all the history of men coming on with huge machines, working 12-hour shifts 7 days a week, extracting the coal, and I never thought I'd see anything like this, because it looked like a war zone when they'd finished. But then the people came onto landscape, and this is what it's turned out to be. Now I've watched this mature as well, and it gets better every time I see it. Now in winter time, in this area, there's a lake behind me called Winterset, excuse me, and in winter time, when I first started coming to these sites in this area, to Winterset, as I say, which is just behind me, I used to see maybe 2 or 3 golden eyes, and in the winter on here now you can see rafts of them, as it's called, 20 at a time and even more, and all sorts of birds get on here now that you'd never ever see before. And this is what I've always been interested in. I started bird watching when I was about 23, doing it for serious, every weekend that I could, in a team really, because there was a few of us. But these people just wanted to watch birds, and that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to know why birds came to an area and how we could attract these birds. And I'm pleased to see that pleased to tell you that I've had some input on finding out what would attract certain birds to the area, and I'm really pleased that it's turned out this way. And there's another lake not far away from here, behind me, near Wakefield, called Pugneys, and I saw that site, just the same as this one, be outcropped for coal. And there's a huge lake there, but it's not as deep as this one. I can't understand why they don't have fishing on here, but they used to do. That's why they call it the anglers. And they used to be able to take 2 trout fishers a day. And then for some reason they stopped all the fishing. So I don't know why that was. So we've walked across the road 2 minutes, and we're now going towards Winterset. And that's been here a long time. Originally dug out to provide water for the canals. So here we are on the Winterset Lake. Now in the far distance behind the yacht you can see some trees there, and further beyond those trees used to be a bus terminus, and that was my only means of transport back then. And then I had to walk to the right there through some sludgy fields and onto that embankment there, and then on that embankment there was this lake at this side and another lake at the other side called Coldeanley. Coldeanley's still there, but there was no Anglers Lake where we've just come from at that time. And it was wonderful to see it being developed. And also once this lake was drained off and hundreds of different waders turned up, and I was able to see most of them. And this is where I learnt my bird watching field crafts. In the main I was more interested in calls rather than anything else, and I'm still pleased to tell you that I've got quite a few of those calls I can still recall. Unlike the Anglers, Winterset is an area where men can come and fish, and there's lots of these jetties out, See if I can get to the end of it. Nice to see a few colours about. Not seen many while I've been walking. There's a butterfly on there though. If I can find it. I don't know what it is. There's obviously no fish in here because of these reeds. Phragmites it's called, and it's wonderful for some visiting birds such as reed warblers. What else can I say? Offhand, swallows sometimes use it as a roost, and it's quite a big area of reeds. So I've seen starlings get down in it as well on an evening, but I'm a bit limited now to go out it, to stay out after dusk, because of my age really. Don't want to be out there on my own, and I used to love it. I used to stay out with the full moon and count migrating birds through the moon. Can't do that now. There was a time when I could see over the top of these reeds. And of course they're very, very high at the moment. Well, after an hour of meandering walking, I found a seat, and I'm glad of it. But these reeds which I've just shown you earlier, the Phragmites is also had bitten in there as well.